Hello and welcome to the Not Too Shabby Shop channel. Susan here from Making Crafts, and I'm back on the channel today sharing some projects that I made using the Beary Christmas stamp and die set. And this is the stamp and die set for the month of July. And it's so hard to believe that we're now at the end of July. So I wanted to show you what I've been making. So I've made quite a few of these because they're very easy to make. Once you start cutting up your paper and getting all your pieces prepared, you can make quite a few of these in just an afternoon. So these are gift card holders, and these will hold your normal size gift cards. So this size gift card is what I've based it off of, and this is pretty much the same size that most gift cards are from stores. Once you finish watching this video, because in this video I'm going to show you how I color in these bears and cut them out, and once you're done with this video, be sure to hop over to my channel where I show you how to make this card. And I'll give you all the measurements on my channel. So here are some of the cards that I made, and I've used various colors for these. But like I said, when you get to making these, you can make so many in just an afternoon that I have made quite a few. They're quite addictive, and I love all the different colors. And so today I'm going to be showing you how I choose the colors for my bears, as well as how I cut them out and how I color them in. So when I receive my stamp sets, I always like to stamp the images that need coloring, just to practice coloring them and seeing what colors I like with them. But once I come up with a project that I want to do, I like to go ahead and stamp all of the images that I'm going to use. Most of the time I actually fill up the page, but this time for this video I'm just going to stamp the 4 bears. And then I choose which papers I want to use for my project. Depending on what I'm making is what kind of paper I'm going to be using. So once I have the paper picked out, that's when I decide my colors. I just pull out my bag of markers. I have 2 bags of markers. I pull those out, and then I start picking out colors that I think go good with the paper. And once I have those chosen, I begin coloring. So for the bear here, I'm just going to show you a little bit on how I color these images in. I do not do anything special. I wanted to keep these bears very simple because I think they're adorable, and I think that you could just color them in without any shading and any accents, and they would be absolutely fine. So what I'm doing with this little bear is I started out with the darker brown, and then I'm coming back with the lighter brown and just filling in the white space. Now I did add some brown around his eye just to add a little spot on him, just to add a little bit of character. And you can do that with your, when you're coloring in these images. You don't have to just color them as is. Once I have the white areas filled in with the lighter color, I just come back with the light marker, and I'm coloring on top of the darker brown. And this just helps it all blend. With alcohol markers, I love how that, helps everything blend in by using the light over the dark. And then I come back and I just add a little bit of shadow around the scarf. Now I move on to the stocking cap, and I'm just filling it in with a very light mint, and that was matching the paper that I have. So I'm just going to fill in the whole stocking cap with mint, and like I said, I'm not going too extreme on coloring these in. I'm just keeping it simple. I come back with a little darker mint, and I just add a little bit of shadows around the edges of his hat, and then I follow the lines, little crinkles in his hat, just to add a little bit of shadow where the hat crinkles on top. Then I go to the scarf and I do the same thing. I fill in with the light color, and then I'm just going to come back with the darker mint and just add a few shadows. And I will just add shadows where the scarf folds over, and then underneath where it's hanging, I'll add just a little bit of shadows, and then on the edges just to give it a little bit more depth and make it look more rounded. Now for the next bear, I just color the tree in with green. I don't do any shadows, anything. And then for the bear, I want to color him in gray. So I started out with a very light gray, and I thought that I would just fill him in with gray and keep it simple. But once I fill him totally in, I feel like he's too light and he needs just a little bit something else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish filling him in, and then I'll come back with the darker gray, and I'm just going to add some of the darker gray to the areas that have the dots on the bear. So the stamp set has some dots that show up when you stamp the bear, and that's just to highlight some areas on the bear. So I'm just coming in with the darker gray, covering those areas, and then there were some around his eyes, so I just added it there where those dots were, and then I darkened his ears in. Once I have the dark color filled in, I come back with the light again, and this time I'm going to cover the gray, but I'm also going to cover the light areas again, and it'll just make him a little bit darker, and I think that makes everything blend, and I think it added to the color that I wanted him to be. So I did the same thing with the other two bears. One of them's brown and one of them is gray, and I colored them in the same way that I did the first two bears. And so I really love how these colors turned out, because if you saw my previous video where I used the stamp set, I colored them in using all Christmas colors, but this time I used more of the winter colors, since that's what this paper pack, the colors that was in it. And I really love these bears in the cool winter colors. Now to cut these out, I am just going to use the dies that came with the stamps, and what I love about the dies from Not Too Shabby is that they come on a magnetic sheet, and that magnetic sheet really helps you to keep all of your dies together when you're working with them. So once I place the dies over the bears, I just tape them down with some very light washi tape, and this is washi tape that doesn't stick really well, so that it's easily pulled off and won't pull my ink colors off. I will say I did show in the video here that I used one piece of tape on the bear with the Christmas tree, but because that one's so large, you really need to add 2 pieces of tape, one on each side. So I did just mess up that bear, and I had to go back and remake him. So I'm just going to share with you mistakes I made so that you don't have to make the same mistakes. So just tape him down on both sides. So here are the completed cards. Be sure to hop over to my channel today to check out how I made the cards. I give you full instructions on how to create these cards. Also, don't forget to check out the Not Too Shabby shop for the stamp and die set of the month. And the last time I checked, this stamp and die was still in stock. So I will try to link below to the stamp and die set, and just be sure to check that out. And this set has been a lot of fun to work with, and I'm so thrilled that I have gotten some of my Christmas projects already started. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.